Chris, I mean, really, you look at Macron, he came in, he got the state dinner, he got the pat on the back, the hug, and, Angela Merkel comes in and she gets really a handshake and a sandwich, and that's pretty much it. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm sure it was a nice sandwich. The White House kitchen is delicious. There's no question that the president has a closer personal relation. But what strikes me about this 1-2 punch by the European Union, first Macron, then Merkel, is that they seem to be giving up a lot, and the president seems to be willing to accept it. Remember when this whole thing started, there was a lot of talk from the European Union about, look, it's the Iran deal or nothing. And now, because of the hard line the president seems to be taking, whether it's Macron or Merkel, they seem to be saying it's going to be the Iran deal plus. And when they talk about the Iran deal plus, they're talking about adding a sunset clause, or taking out the sunset clause. The current agreement only goes to 2025. Then basically Iran can do whatever it wants in terms of developing nuclear weapons. The president doesn't want that. They seem to be saying that's okay with us. They also want to have new limits on ballistic missiles and also some kind of a statement about regional troublemaking by Iran. Because this is not a treaty, it's just an agreement. Remember, it was never submitted to Congress. What you could get is not any sign-on by either Iran or its allies in Russia or China, but you could get the Europeans and the U.S. saying, we're going to add these 3 conditions, and if you violate any of those, then we're going to impose sanctions. That's one way that they are able to keep the Iran nuclear deal, but also add some of the other things that President Trump wants on those other issues.
Yeah, and so the Iran deal is kind of up in the air right now, Chris, but you go to this North Korea thing and you look at Kim Jong-un meeting with Moon Jae-in, on the South Korean peninsula, or on the South Korean side of the peninsula. It's amazing because even if this thing erupts in 10 minutes, which it could, this deal could go bye-bye in 10 minutes, for this minute, it looks like Trump really is kind of the peacemaker in this whole bargain.
Well, I don't know that I'd call him the peacemaker. I would certainly say that he has been the motivating force in getting Kim to launch this charm offensive. Clearly, and a lot of us wondered about it, but clearly the combination of threats, raining fire and fury down on North Korea, insults, little rocket man, my nuclear button is bigger than yours, as unconventional as it was, seems to have worked. Most importantly, the Trump policy of maximum pressure, really tightening the screws in terms of trade and exports and imports, that all of that has had an impact. I promise you, Kim has not decided to suddenly play nice with South Korea or potentially the U.S. because he's had a change of heart. He's had a change of circumstance, and he now feels enough pressure that he feels he has to change what his plan is. Having said all of that, and your skepticism or at least caution, I think is well warranted. President Clinton had his Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, meet with Kim's father in Pyongyang back in the 90s. They made a deal. The North Koreans broke that. The South Koreans and the North Koreans have made deals in the past. The North Koreans have broken those as well. So, the key here, to go back to my days covering Ronald Reagan, is trust but verify. On the one hand, you want to accept agreements, but on the other hand, you got to verify they're going to keep their word.
Right, and it goes back to 2008 where they said the same thing. We're going to pull back these nuclear weapons. We're going to get rid of them. And then that lasted about a cup of coffee. And it really kind of pushes us forward, Chris, to this summit between the president and Kim Jong-un. I mean, this is now pivotal. Wherever it happens, whether it's in Singapore or, in Sweden, this thing really is very important because the president reiterated today, one, that they're not going to be played like a fiddle, and two, that he seemed to indicate that he's got this thing.
Well, we'll see if he's got this thing. I mean, he certainly is expressing great confidence, as he always does in himself, but it takes 2 to make a deal. I think the key here is going to be, what does denuclearization mean? And also the sequencing. Denuclearization, the U.S. clearly means you give up everything. You give up all of your nukes. You give up all of the facility to make nuclear fuel and nuclear weapons. You give up your ballistic missile program, and you ship it out of the country, or we see that you've destroyed it. The sense one gets from reporting out of North Korea is that they're thinking more that denuclearization means we're going to freeze in place. You'll have to accept us as a nuclear power, but we won't advance our program, we won't do any more testing. I'm not sure whether the president would accept that. The other question is sequencing. Is it that the North Koreans have to go first and do everything, and then the U.S. lifts sanctions? I think that's going to be hard for the North Koreans to accept. They may say, look, we'll take step A, and you lift some sanctions. We take step B, you lift more sanctions. So this question of
right.
what the South Koreans call action for action, you do this and we respond, I suspect is going to be another key issue in these negotiations. A lot of opportunity for a huge success, a lot of opportunity for it all to fall apart.